Alright, Chapter 62, 709, 201, Definitions Rule 62, 701, 200, Florida Administration Code applies to this chapter unless the context clearly indicates otherwise. For purposes of this chapter, the following words, phrases, terms shall have the following meanings. Anaerobic digestion means the process for biological decomposition of the organic material or organic products carried out under the control of anaerobic conditions, stabilized with the organic fraction into the material which can easily, safely be stored, handled, and used in environmentally acceptable manner. Animal byproduct means a source separated with the organic solid waste with which the animal's origin, such as meat, fat, dairy, eggs, is generated. Commercial, institution, agricultural, industrial operations. These terms include waste generated by prison facilities, grocery stores, manufacturing, packaging plants, butcher shops, restaurants, and abattoirs. The term also includes the packaging that has come in contact with animal products. These wastes will be viewed as pot or receptacle waste in this chapter. 3. Beneficial use means for the purpose of the chapter, readily degradable organics are placed on the soil to provide valuable benefits, such as reducing erosion, water loss, the regulation of soil temperature, preventing the growth of weeds, serving soil amendment, the decomposition, placing the materials in proposed purpose of disposal is not considered to be beneficial. Backyard composition means of the composing of the organic solid waste such as glass clippings, leaves, and food waste generated by the homeowner, tenant, or the single multiple family residential unit apartment complex where composting occurs with the dwelling unit. 5. Clean wood means wood including lumber, trees, shrunken trees, trunks, branches, limbs, and other that is free of paint or glue filler with pentachloride, ethanol, creosote, tar, asphalt, chromatium, copper, arsenate. Other words, preservatives of treatments. Composites mean of solid waste which has undergone biological decomposition. Organic matter has been infected using composition. Similar technologies having been stabilized to the degree of potential beneficial of the plant growth that is used in solid for the use of soil amendment, artificial topsoil growing medium amendment, other similar uses. 7. Composition, composting means the process of biological decomposition of organic solid with the carried out under the controlled aerobic conditions that stabilize the organic fraction of the material, which can easily, safely be stored, handled, and used in an environmental acceptable manner. The presence of anaerobic zone within the composition material will not cause the process to be classified in another composting. Composting facility means a solid waste management facility where solid waste is processed using composting technology. Processing may include physical turning, windrowing, aeration, and other mechanical handling of the organic material. 9. A curing area means that the area with the organic material has undergone rapid initial stage of the composition, further stabilized with a humus-like material. Disinfection means self-destruction of the pathogens indicated by a reduction of the indicator organisms specified in paragraph 62, 709, 308A, Florida Administration Codes. Form material means of the inorganic organic constitution solid waste stream that is not readily be decomposed that may be present with in compost form. Materials, metals, glass, plastic, rubber bones, leather, and does not include sand, grit, rocks, or other similar materials. Land reclamation means of restoration productivity of the lands made burdened through process such as erosion, mining, and land clearing. 13. Manure means of solid waste composed extracted from animals and residual materials that have been used for the bedding of the sanitary feeding purpose for such animal. For the purpose of the chapter, manure does not include such material generated managed by normal farm operations, but does not include paunching manure, which is undigested stomach content of cattle. Maturity means the degree of stability that has been achieved. Mesolithic stage means the biological state composition process characterized by active bacteria which favor the moderate temperature range from 20 to 45 degrees Celsius. Occurs later in composting process after a thermolithic stage and is associated with a moderate rate of decomposition. 16. Motorized firefighting equipment means of equipment that can be used to control extinguished fires such as fire trucks, front end loaders, and bulldozers. Pre-consumer vegetative waste means a source is separated with vegetative solid waste with commercial, institutional, industrial, agricultural operations that is not considered yard trash, has not come in contact with animal product or byproducts with any of the user. The term included material generated with grocery store packing, housing, canning operations, as well as products that have been removed from packaging, such as out-of-date juice, vegetables, condiments, bread. The term also includes the associated packaging, vegetative origin, such as paper and cornstarch-based products. Does not include the packing, and contact with the other materials such as meat, plate scrappings are specifically excluded from the definition. These wastes are petrocyclical waste defined in this chapter. 18. Petrocyclical waste means the solid waste contains organic matter capable of being decomposed in microorganisms and such character of portion of the capable of attracting provided food for birds. The term does not include the uncontaminated yard trash or clean wood. 19. Recycling means in a process which solid waste material which would otherwise be solid or waste are collected, separated, processed, reused, and returned into the form of raw material products. 20. Size reduced means if the material has been processed so that it will pass through a 6-inch sieve or has been cut into the firewood no greater than 24 inches in length. 21. Stabilized by biological chemical decomposition. The waste has been seized, diminished to the level so that the decomposition no longer poses a pollution, health, or safety hazard. The term means the biological decomposition of the waste that was composed anaerobically digestive has occurred with a sufficient degree that it will be allowed beneficial use as regards to the composition means the compost has been at least passed through the thermolytic stage and biological decomposition. Solid waste occurred with a sufficient degree that will allow the beneficial use. 22. The thermophilic stage means a biological stage composting process characterized by the active bacteria which favor the high temperature range of 45 to 75 degrees Celsius. Occurs early in the composition process before mesophilic stage and is associated with a high rate decomposition. Vector means a carrier organism that is capable of transmitting pathogens from one organism to the other. Vegetative waste means source separated organic solid waste of the vegetative origin generated by commercial, institutional, agricultural, industrial operations that is not considered yard trash. These terms include waste generated with the grocery stores, prisons, restaurants, packing houses, canning operations, as well as products that have been moved from their packaging, such as out-of-date juice, vegetables, condiments, and bread. The term also includes the packaging of the vegetables or origin, such as paper, cornstarch-based product. These wastes are petrocyclical waste is defined in this chapter. When the term is not in conjunction with the term pre-consumer, it is included vegetable waste that must have come in contact with the end user. 25. Yard trash must be means the vegetative matter resulting in landscape maintenance, land clearing operation, including materials such as tree, shrub trimmings, glass clippings, palm fronds, trees, and tree stumps, associated rock soils. For purposes of this chapter, it also includes clean wood, yard trash processing facility, means of a yard trash further transaction facility in yard which yard trash is processed, size, reduced, usable material, composted, but does not include the facility used in disposal of yard trash. Alright, general provisions. General provisions. 62.709.300 General provisions. General provisions related to solid waste management may be found in Chapter 62.701, including statements for the intent, definition, prohibition, general permitting requirements, alternative procedures, and variances, except with the context including and indicates otherwise with the general provisions apt apply to this chapter. No solid waste management facility whose purpose or includes production of the compost shall be constructed, operated with expanded, modified without appropriate current valid permit registration issued by the department unless specifically accepted within Chapter 403 of the Florida State Statutes, Chapter 62.701 of this chapter, except with the permits is issued in accordance with the 62.709.460 of the Florida Administration Code. The following applies. Application of the permit shall be pursuant to the requirements specified in 62.701.320 Florida Administration Codes, except for Form 62.709.901 shall be used. The application for a permit construction operating solid waste management facility for the production of compost effective date of February 15, 2010. Here adapted and incorporated with the reference copies for this form available for the local district office writing Department of Environmental Protection, Solid Waste, MS 4565 2600 Blairstone Road, Tallahassee 323992400. The Department of Webpage, Department of State, Florida, Waste Quick Topics, The Department of Evaluation permit application also supporting information shall issue deny permit pursuant to paragraph 62.701.329A, B, and D of the Florida Administration Code. Supporting the information shall provide sufficient details to allow the evaluation permit application the copy of the Department of approved engineering drawing plans, reports, operational plans. Supporting information that shall be kept at all facilities at all times for the relevant inspection. C. Term of permit. The time of the period of the shall be no longer than 5 years of the date of the issuance of the department for the closure requirements. A. The operator and the owner and operator shall notify the appropriate department district office in written 45 days in ceasing operations. Shall specify a closing date. No waste shall be received by the facility after the closing date. All residual solid waste recyclable materials shall be removed from the site and recycled disposal and pursuant to requirements. Chapter 62701 Florida Administration Code within 1 month from the date of the facility ceased to receive solid waste. Any of the remaining composition compost shall be used in accordance with the requirements of the chapter, disposed and pursuant to the requirements of Chapter 62701 Florida Administration Codes. 5. Nothing in this chapter is intended to reveal any person with the compliance with the storm water rules in Chapter 6225, 62.330 Florida Administration Codes without any other local, state, or federal requirements. 6. The following activities in the facilities are not regulated under this chapter. Single disposal solid waste, little or no mechanical handling that results in natural decay and considered disposable, regulated in Chapter 62701. Composition solid waste of the volume reduction measure prior to the intended disposal, the considered waste processing, regulated in Chapter 62701. See, composition facility for the process domestic water residual with the yard trash regulated in Chapter 62640 with the Florida Administration composting facilities for the process domestic water wastewater residual with the solid waste regulated on this chapter. However, nothing in the chapter shall receive such facilities complying with the other applicable federal and state rules regarding regulation regarding domestic water residual management. Facilities with industrial products and segregated management provided with the operation in either aspect from the permitting of the section 403.7045 is regulated on another Department of Permit certification. Prohibition. No person shall cause the allowed discharge of air pollutants for the caused objectionable order of the violation of Chapter 62.296 Florida Administration Codes. The prohibition of the Rule 62.701.300 as well as the shrinking restriction subsection 62.701.320 13 Florida Administration apply with the facilities regulated under this chapter. No solid waste from processing in accordance with the chapter will be placed in natural artificial body of water and wetland unauthorized under the permit of the Department of Water Management District and open sinkhole in the dewatered pit. No treated, untreated medical waste is regulated with the Chapter 64E16 shall be accepted with the organic processing and recycling facilities. Used oil and hazardous waste, asbestos-containing waste shall be not processed in recyclable organic materials except for small quantities normally found in household waste. Compost. Any compost produced from solid waste, excluding the compost with only yard trash, consumer or vegetative waste, and must be disinfected. One of the following must be demonstrated that the disinfection has achieved. The test for frequency options are contained in paragraph 62.701.530.1b and C. Florida Administration Code. 1. The option at the time the solid waste has been completed with the disinfection process, either density of the fecal coliform less than 1,000 post-portal probable number per gram, the total solid density, the density of Salmonella sp bacteria less than 3 most probable numbers per 4 grams of total solid. When following process controls is retrieved, maintain 50 degrees Celsius or higher for 3 consecutive days in a mechanical composter in an aerated insulated static pile. Maintain 55 degrees Celsius higher than 15 consecutive days with the window at least 5 turns of the window. Option 2. At the time of the material ready to be used, the pathogen reduction process has been completed. Either the density of the fecal coliform is less than 1,000 most probable number per gram total solid. Density of the salmonella bacteria is less than the most probable numbers of 4 grams of the total solid. The density of the enteric virus is less 1 plaque form unit per 4 grams of total solid. Density of viable lithimal ovea is less than 1 per 4 grams of solid. Temperature mounting should be the depth of 2 feet into the pile. The temperature reading of the length of the composition period should be recorded. The record should keep the last 3 years and shall be made available for inspection of department personnel. Any composition cannot be used pursuant to the requirements of the chapter shall be reprocessed, disposed, and pursuant to the requirements of 62701 Florida Administration Codes. 9. Permits for the organic solid waste recycling facility, notwithstanding provision 624.054J, Rule 62701.315. The following parentheses, they apply with the permit application associated with this chapter. The provision of the paragraph 62 4.050 and through V. Florida administration continue to apply such permits to application fees of permit transfers, alternating procedures established in 62701.315. Fees of permits modifications are established in section 62701.324. Florida Administration Codes. A. Construction permits. Manure and yard trash composition facility 2000. Solid waste composting facility 5000. B. Operation permits. Manure and yard trash composition facility 1000. Solid waste composition facility 3000. Transfer of permit $50. Registration yard trash processing facility 35. Registration composition yard vegetative waste animal byproducts manure blending facility 35. Permanent solid waste organic recycling pilot projects 250. Requests for alternate procedure provisions within this rule 500. Nothing in the chapter intended to prohibit the beneficial use of sludge or other byproducts generated from anaerobic digestion is not expected to pose a significant threat to public health or environment. Alright. 62709-305. The following activities do not require the permanent registration under the chapter, but provide no public nuisance of any of the condition adversely affecting the environment and public health created by the activity does not violate other state and local ordinances, rules, regulation, or order of the backyard composition as the result of the compost and normal farming operations. For the purpose of this chapter, the following will be considered normal farming. Composition and anaerobic digestion waste generated on a farm as part of the agronomic, horticultural, silvicultural operation for the use of the on-farming as part of the agronomic, horticultural, silvicultural operations. Composition of waste generated at the farm as part of agronomic, horticultural, silvicultural operation for sale for the use off the farm. Although no permit is required, but the generator must meet the requirements of the Rule 62709-530 through 600 of Florida Administration Code for any compost that is sold for the use of the by person other than the generator. Composting and anaerobic digestion for the yard trash, manure, vegetable waste generated from the off-farm for the use of the farm as part of the agronomic, horticultural, silvicultural operations. Decomposition of yard trash, manure, vegetable waste generated from the off-farm for the sale of the use of off the farm. Although no permit is required, the generator must meet the requirements of Rule 62709-530 through 600 for any of the compost that is sold or used by a person other than a generator. For the exemption to apply with the yard trash manure, the vegetable waste brought to the farm must be necessary to optimize cross-position yard trash manure generated with the farm as part of the agronomic, horticultural, silvicultural operation. Bringing it in the yard trash to source the carbon pile structure. Optimize the composition of the manure generated on the farm. The yard trash vegetative waste manure which is brought from the farm solely to increase the amount of the compost product produced and not considered to be part of the agronomic, horticultural, silvicultural operations at the farm is not covered in this exemption as provided in paragraph E of below. Manure management operations that are regulated in Chapter 62, 670 of Florida Administration Codes are concentrated animal feeding operations or animal feeding operations. And facilities permitted includes the manure received offsite as well as the generator on-site. The facility permit addresses the waste stream. 3. Composting solid waste generated on-site, off-site, whether there is no more 100 cubic yards on the site at one time. The solid waste composed and undergoing the composition process finished with the compost being stored for use. Land application procedure, yard trash for beneficial use is not considered disposable, is not regulated under the Department. Solid waste generated provided with the yard trash has been size reduced so that it will pass through 6-inch sieve. Land application unprocessed yard trash for the use of the yard of trash, manure, vegetable waste is beneficial for the use not exposed to the is a significant threat to the public health or the environment. The following information can be submitted to the Department of District Office to help provide assurance for the activity is beneficial. A description of the property, including street, mailing address, property identification number, use of the county property appraiser office where the property of the land application will occur, with the topographically which the material will be deposited, map showing the location of property, identifying the water bodies, wetlands, wells is to be avoided but is required. The property description must indicate that any of the water bodies, wetlands to be avoided. The department retains the authority to inspect the operation to ensure that the waste is being properly managed. Documentation that the person either owns the land where the material will be deposited or has legal authorization from the property owner to deposit material that they are in manner proposed. Any explanation proposed project within it while the person believes it qualifies for exemption. The explanation includes the description benefit obtained with for the project, any specification requirements for income, any material, any description of any process that will take place in the on-site before the material is used, and the amount of the material required to complete the project. This should include the total amount per acre application rate. The total amount per acre application rate shall be in the tons of cubic yards. An established bulk density of the pounds per cubic yard should also be provided. An operation plan describing how the material will be received on the site and how the site will be controlled, what equipment will be used to process and spread it, how the material will be stored in prior use. A contingency plan explaining the procedure for dealing with emergencies such as fire, natural disaster, equipment failure, received any of the unacceptable material. A description of how vegetative waste, unstabilized manure will be processed within 48 hours, and a demonstration the proposed project is not subject to create any significant threat to public health or the environment. Alright, 62, 709-320, general provision registration, applicability, owners operate via the yard trash processing facility composing vegetable waste, animal byproducts, manure with or without yard trash manure blending operation to meet the criteria with the rules 62-709-330, 62-709-350, shall register annually department in accordance with the subsection 62-709-323 with the Florida Administration Code. However, the criteria are not met, the solid waste management facility permit is required. In accordance with the chapter 62-701 Florida Administration Code, the disposal operation transfer station in accordance with the subsection 62-709-303 Florida Administration Code for the composition processing operation rule 62-709-4060 the Florida Administration Code for the qualifying pilot projects owners and operators of the solid waste product facilities that meet the criteria with the rule, either the rule 62-709-330, 62-709-350 that are not subject to the requirements of rule 62-709-500, 62-709-510, 62-709-530 unless otherwise specified in this chapter. However, they are subject to the requirements of the rules 62-709-300, 62-709-550, 62-709-600. If the facility is already authorized with under the Department of Solid Waste Management facility permit, the facility registration under this rule is not required as long as the permit remains valid. However, the annual report must be submitted. Registration issued under the chapter considered to be equivalent to operating permits for the purpose of any notice of requirements of the Chapter 403 Florida State Rule or Rule 62-110 and 106 Florida Administration Codes. Designing any operation requirements of the facility shall have the operation procedure for the equipment necessary to maintain clean and orderly operation unless they otherwise specified in Rule 62-709-330, 62-709-350 Florida Administration Code. The provision shall include an effective barrier to prevent unauthorized entry of the dumping into the facility site, dust and litter control methods, fire protection control prevention provisions to deal with the accidental burn of the solid waste, including there shall be an all-weather access road at least 20 feet wide all around the perimeter of the site. None of the proposed unproposed material shall be mechanically compacted. None of the processing unprocessed material should be more than 50 feet from the cross of the motorized firefighting equipment. The facility shall be operated with the manner of the control vectors. The facility should be operated in a manner controlling objectional orders in accordance with the subsection 62-296-322 Florida Administration Codes. Any of the drains, latchets, condensating with the conveniency that may be installed shall be kept clean so that they flow in and not impede. Solid waste received at the registered facility must be processed timely as follows. Any yard trash, including clean wood, received at the facility shall be sized, reduced, and removed within 36 weeks, 6 months within the period requirements to receive 30,000 tons or 1,200 cubic yards, whichever is greater. However, the logs with diameters of 6 inches or greater may be stored up to 12 months before the size reduced or removed, provided the logs are separated and stored apart from other materials on the site. Any petroceutical waste shall be vegetative waste, animal products, manure received at the facility shall be processed and incorporated with the composting material removed from the facility within 48 hours of the receipt. Any of the following materials discovered that should be immediately contained and removed from the facility: treated and untreated biomedical waste, hazardous waste, any materials containing polychlorinated biethanol or PCB concentration of 50 parts per million or greater. When registered facility cease operation, all residual solid waste recyclable materials shall be removed from the site and recycled, disposed of pursuant to requirements of Chapter 62-701. Any of the remaining processed material shall be used in accordance with the requirements of this rule, disposed and pursuant to chapter requirements of 62-701 Florida Administration Codes. Registration owner and operator of the solid waste to qualify the registration shall register with the department before beginning of the operation unless they are operating under the solid waste management facility permit is specified in paragraph 1C of this rule. Registration shall be submitted on the form 62-709-9013 application for the registration annual report of the Yard Trash Transfer Station Solid Waste Organic Recycling Facility, effective date February 15, 2010, here adopted and incorporated with a reference copy of this material available at the local district office writing of the Department of Environmental Protection, Solid Waste Section MS 4565, 2600 Blair Road, Tallahassee, Florida, 32399-2400, the Department of the webpage at the Depot State and Florida U.S. Waste Quick Topics Forums, page 62709. The registration provided with the facility name with the physical address where the facility is located, mailing address, street mailing address, contact name, email address, telephone number, from the facility design and operation comply with the requirements of Rule 62709-330, 62709-350. The registration shall also provide documentation that registers either the owned land that has legal authorization for the landowner to operate solid waste organic recycling facility on the site. C. Renewal application for the registration pursuant to 62709-330 and 62709-350 shall be submitted annually by July 1st. The application for the registration includes the annual report required in subsection 4 of this rule. Owners and operators of the solid waste organic recycling facility or submitting registration application have not begun operating during the applicable calendar year and not required to be submitted an annual report for the calendar year. For record keeping and reporting, monthly records, income, outgoing materials shall be kept on site with another location indicated with the registration for at least 3 years. The values may be in cubic yards or tons. Same the unit of the measure shall be used to record both incoming and outgoing material. Annual report based on the preceding calendar year shall summarize. Monthly records shall be submitted to July 1st to the Department using Form 62709-9113. Any application of registration annual report of the Yard Trash Transfer Station Solid Waste Organic Recycling Facility effective date February 15, 2010, hereby adopted and incorporated with the reference copies of this form available at the local district office of writing, Department of Environmental Protection, Solid Waste Section, MS 4565, 2600 Blairstone Road, Tallahassee, 32399-2400. For the Department webpage, Department State, Florida U.S. Waste Quick Topics Form 60 pages 62709. Registration may be submitted the annual reports of the department electronically. Initial annual report existing facilities shall include a current site inventory material. The temperature monitoring will be used to demonstrate disinfection has achieved the vector attraction and has been achieved. These records shall be kept for at least 3 years. The record shall be made available upon request. Alright. Alright, 62709-330, specifying criteria for the registered yard trash processing facility. A facility accepting only yard trash shall meet the criteria in the rule addition provision of Rule 62709-320 Florida Administration Code. Processed material shall be removed from the facility within 18 months. However, the yard processing facility is authorized under the Department of Solid Waste Management facility permit. The department shall authorize on-site storage for the processed material for no longer than 18 months if the owner and operator demonstrates there is quantifiable use of such material for the covered erosion control, closure, or other similar activities at the permitted facility. Only yard trash and bags may be used to collect yard trash shall be accepted at the yard trash processing facility. Any other material shall be containerized. Alright, 62709-350, specific criteria for the registration facilities, composting, vegetative waste, animal byproducts of manure, and blending manure. Facility accepting the composition only vegetative waste, animal byproducts of manure with or without yard trash, or a facility accepting on manure blending it in the yard trash or soil shall meet the criteria with the rule of addition with the provision of Rule 62709-320 of the carbon nitrogen ratio of the blending feedstock shall be greater than 20. The vegetative waste and animal byproducts manure shall be not stored and processed in the piles exceeding 12 feet in height. Yard trash processing facility that also compost blending and are registered in accordance with the section are not required to obtain separate registration for the yard trash processing operation. All materials except the facility shall be removed within 18 months. However, the facility is authorized under another Department of Waste Management facility permit that the department shall authorize an on-site storage, compost, blend manure for manure for longer than 18 months if the owner and operator demonstrate that it is quantifiable use for such material for cover, erosion, closure, or other similar activities that is permitted at the facility. 6. The owner and operator facility producing compost manure blended with the yard trash and soil must demonstrate that the disinfection has achieved the use of one oppositions, paragraph 62709-308A in the Florida Administration Code. However, such demonstrates is not required to compost waste made by pre-consumer vegetative waste with or without yard trash. Operation facilities are featuring composting, manure blending facility, vector attraction reduction controls that shall include one of the following. Materials shall be composted for at least 14 days during the time and the temperature of the material being composted shall no longer be than 40 degrees Celsius. The average temperature of the material being composted shall be higher than 45 degrees Celsius. Specific oxygen uptake rate or SOAR Sour, for the material being composted blended, shall be equal to less than 1.5 milligrams of oxygen per hour per gram on a total solid dry weight basis and temperature of 20 degrees Celsius. Alright, 62, 709, 460. Special permanent criteria for the solid waste organic recycling pilot projects. Of applicability, a person wishing to conduct a solid waste organic recycling pilot project shall operate only under the permit issued with accordance with this rule. Pilot projects may include the research, but that does not qualify for the permit provision in Section 403, 70715 Florida State Statutes as an organic recycling project and not limited to composting. Pilot projects that qualify these permits are those who do not qualify for registration under this chapter will initially operate no more than 18 months with the option to extend the project for an additional 18 months and will accept no more than 10,000 cubic yards of the project feedstock. If the facility is already used unauthorized under another department permit in the address of the project, the permit under this rule is not required as long as the permit remains valid. Pilot projects that meet the criteria for the rule are not subject to the requirements of Rule 62, 709, 500, 62, 709, 510, 62, 709, 530. Unless otherwise specified, this rule, however, such projects are subject to the requirements of Rule 62, 709, 300, 62, 709, 550, and 62, 709, 600 for the Florida Administration Codes. The prohibition section of 62, 709, 307 for the Florida Administration Codes apply to the solid waste organic recycling pilot projects. However, because the projects are used smaller quantities of feedstock with minimum duration, the following setbacks and in lieu of the setbacks of subsection 62, 709, 307. No material processed material shall be placed within 250 for the existing site. Existing approved off-site potable water well. No material processed material shall be placed within 100 feet of the natural or artificial body of the water. The purpose of the paragraph, the body of the water includes wetland with the jurisdiction of the department, but does not include the impoundments of the conveniency of the part of the permitted stormwater management system. Water bodies contained and complete with the property boundary for the facility that does not discharge from the site of the surface waters. Alright, 3. Design and operation requirements. The facility shall have the operation features, equipment necessary to maintain the clean and orderly operating, including effective barriers to prevent unauthorized entry of the dumping into the facility site, dust litter control methods, the fire protection control provisions deal with the accidental burn of solid waste. There should be at least be an all-weather access road with at least 20 feet wide all around the perimeter of the site. None of the unprocessed material should be more than 50 feet from the access motorized firefighting equipment. The facility shall be operated in a manner of the control vector. The control shall be operated in a manner control object orders in accordance with the Rule 62, 296, 322 Florida Administration Codes. D. Any of the drains, lashing, and condensation conveniencies that may be installed shall be kept clean so that the flow is not impeded. If any of the following materials are discovered, they should be immediately containerized and removed from the facility. Treated untreated biomechanical waste, hazardous waste, any other material containing polychlorinated by ethanol concentrations of 50 parts per million or greater. When a solid waste organic recycling pilot project ceases operation, all residue, solid waste, and recyclable materials shall be removed from the site with recycled pursuant to the requirements of 6701 Florida Administration Codes. As remaining processed material shall be used in accordance with the requirements of the chapters disposed pursuant to the requirements of 62701 Florida Administration Codes. 4. A permit application pilot project shall be submitted in Form 62709901, permitting application solid waste organic recycling pilot project effective February 15, 2010, hereby adopted and incorporated by the reference copy of the forms are available at local district office without writing the Department of Environmental Protection, Solid Waste Section, MS 4565, 2600 Blairstone Road, Tallahassee, 32399 2400 for the Department. Webpage, Department of State, Florida, U.S. Waste Quick Topics Forms, pages 62709. The application shall include the following: the facility name, physical address, where the facility is located, mailing address, street mailing address, contact name, telephone number, contact, and email address, information of the facility design, operation comply with requirements for the rule. Alright, B. Documentation for the restraint either own the lands and has legal authorization landowner to operate the pilot of the project on the site. The description of what the project is designed to do, the materials that will be processed, the length of the time needed to comply with the project, the method of being used, the control order and vector, the methods used to be disinfect solid waste process, the options specified in paragraph 62709 308A. Florida Administration Codes will be used to demonstrate the disinfection has been achieved. The description of how the storm will be controlled, the operation parameters to follow, the managing of the process, such as temperature, mounting, description of how the facility will be clothed, for renewal, application progress report for the specified in subsection 6 of the section. For 5, operation facility and the facility vendor extraction reduction controls shall include one of the following if the composition project for the material should be composed for at least 14 days during the time the temperature of the waste shall not be longer than 40 degrees Celsius. Average temperature of the waste shall be higher than 45 degrees Celsius. B. The specific oxygen uptake rate or sour for the waste mass being processed shall be equal to less than 1.5 milligrams of oxygen per gram per hour per gram of the solid dry weight base if the temperature at 20 degrees Celsius. Alright, 6. A progress report shall be made within submitted within 9 months for permanent assistance. At the time of the permanent renewal application submitted, the report shall include a description of the issue of the roads during the project and how they were resolved, the summary of the copies of any test of the results, the progress report submitted with the permanent renewal application summary with the monthly records required in subsection 9, with the sections currently site inventory materials renewal application operating the pilot project for the additional 18 months should be submitted at least 90 days before the permit expires. 8. The final report shall be submitted within 60 days after the permanent expiration. The report shall include a description of how the project's goals were met, if not, how the close of the project was meeting these goals and why they are not met. Description of the conclusion that they were reached, any of the cost-beneficial analysis that were performed. Summary of the copies, any test results. Summary of the monthly records required in subsection 9 of this section. A current site and inventory of materials record keeping and reporting. Monthly records of incoming and outgoing materials should be kept on site with another location and dedication within the permanent application for at least the duration of the project until all the materials have been removed from the facility site, whichever is greater the following being able in cubic yards of tonnage of the same unit, but the measuring shall be used to record both incoming and outgoing material. The record information should be summarized, submitted to the department with any of the permitting renewal application from its project completion. B. Record shall be kept with any of the temperature monitoring personnel with any demonstrating that the disinfection has been achieved the less of the duration of the project until the material has been removed from the facility site, which is greatest. These records shall be made available to the department. Bound requests shall be summarized in the progress and the final reports. (62) 709 500 Design and criteria for the permitted facility. The facility site shall have the sufficient structural support for the operation, including total waste received, material process, with stored equipment and structures to be built on site. Facility design plan shall include a map, aerial photograph of the area with the scale not to over 400 feet to the end, showing in a land using the zone and with 1 of the mile of the facility. The map of the photograph shall not be more than 1 year old unless no substantial changes have occurred since the map of the photograph was made. All significant features such as building, wells, natural, artificial bodies with water courses, and roadways shall be indicated and labeled. A site plan of scale not over 200 feet of the inches showing the dimension detail of the proposed area of the receiving production, processing, production, carrying, the storage, and fencing. Topographical maps of same scale with the site of the plan not less than 1 feet with no greater than 5 feet with the contour interval showing the contour intervals of the original elevation, proposed final contours, general outline of the facility area, access roads, grades required with proper drainage, any special drainage device, all other pertinent information. A report designated capacity, proposed composition, facility, anticipated type of solid waste and to be received, and general description and any additives to be used with the production with the compost, reasonable assurance that they will not endure the environmental, public health, safety, welfare, storm water management system design standards. A. The stormwater controls shall be designed and constructed and maintained to meet the requirements of Chapter 62.25 and 62.330 of the Florida Administration Code's requirement of the Water Management District of the department has delegated stormwater permitting to the Water Management District. A stormwater management system shall be designed to prevent runoff of the entering, receiving, the processing, curing, storage, air, the stormwater, other waters which comes in contact with the solid waste received, being stored or processed, composed with which mixes. Lachets should be also considered. Lachets shall be reused and processed, pre-treated in meeting applicable standards 62.25, 62.305 to 62.330 Florida Administration point of the discharge. C. The facility site shall be graded with the minimized pounding of the water that where solid waste and compost is received and processed and cured and stored. Facility site shall be provided with the operational features and prudency necessary to maintain a clean and orderly operation with minimum features. Effective barrier to prevent the unauthorized entry of the dumping into the facility site and all other weather access road to site. Signs indicating the name of the operating authority, contact person, telephone number in case of emergency, and the traffic flow. If the facility receives solid waste for the general public, the signs also should indicate the hours of the operation and charge, if any. Dust adjust the control methods where needed to be in control problems, litter control devices, and needed fire protection control provisions dealing with accidental burn of the solid waste and compost at the facility, order control device method of practice, operation plan submitted with the facility, construction permits, application of the operation plan shall be provided with written instruction, daily operation maintenance of the facility. Plan shall be provided with the operational procedures change. The plan shall include the following detailed procedure minimum: designation of person responsible for the operation maintenance of the facility, proposed equipment, controlling the type of the waste received at the site, the plan specifying the inspection procedures, number, locations, spotters, procedures to be filed with, and prohibited waste as are discovered, weighing and measuring income waste pursuant to subsection 6 below, vehicle trafficking control, unloaded methods, sequence of processing the waste, operation, last hit, and storm water controls. Age designation of permitted back of receiving the disposal areas. Contingency operation, including the reserve alternate equipment, alternative waste handling, disposal methods in case of emergency, such as natural disaster, equipment failure with receipt of the prohibited materials such as used oil, asbestos containing material, hazardous waste, and biomedical waste. Scales and access to scales for the weighing of the solid waste received that are required for all facilities owned and operated by on the behalf of the county with the municipality. Additional requirements specified in subsection 136 above, the following requirements apply to the composition facility within the process of solid waste other than one only yard trash manure. The waste receiving the storage area of the processing curing area shall be located on the surface, such as asphalt, concrete, minimizing release of lashate of the groundwater. The surface shall be capable of withstanding wear and tear from normal operations. The facility shall have a lashate collection removal system designed, constructed, and maintained, operated to collect the removal of lashate from the water receiving storage areas, processing and curing areas, wash down from these areas, equipment and stormwater coming in contact with solid waste and compost in their areas and consolidated will be considered in lashate. Lashate shall be reused in processing, treated with the lashate treatment system to meet applicable standards 6225, 62301, 62302, and 62330 Florida Administration Code at the point of discharge. Alright, 62709-510 operation criteria for the permitted facility. Following operation requirements apply to all the composting facility. The design feature of the pursuant to Rule 62709-500 shall be properly operated and maintained. Facility should be operated and maintained with needed measures taken the control vectors in order to ensure the proper staffing. Suitable processing facilities of the following shall be required during hours when solid waste is received and intended at all facility sites. A communication facility for the use in an emergency at all facilities. Measures to be taken avoiding mixing incoming solid waste with the finish of the compost ready to be used solid for the use. Discourage reintroduction weed seeds and pathogens. More than half of the compost stored with the facility shall be used solid for the use of each of the year, beginning with the third year after facility startup. For the incomposition remaining in the facility for the 3 years after it was processed and should be disposed of pursuant to requirements of 62701 shall be reprocessed so that it can be sold or used. The amount of the compost stored with the facility should not exceed the design storage capacity. In addition, with requirements specified in subsection 1 above, the following requirements apply to the composting facility that processes only yard trash and manure. Yard trash and manure will not be made into the compost process, and other usable materials shall be removed at least monthly. The solid waste other than the yard trash manure received at the facility shall be separated and stored in manure in a manner that prevents vector problems shall be removed within 72 hours after the recovered materials, but are stored in the manner that prevents vector problems may remain in the facility up to 1 year. In addition, with the requirements specified in subsection 1 above, the following requirements apply to the composition facility that process solid waste and other only yard trash manure. All waste delivered to the facility shall be confined with the designated delivery of the storage area within until processed and material not processed within 72 hours shall be removed as of the pursuant 62701. Any recovered materials removed from the solid waste stream should be stored with the manner to prevent sector problems shall be removed from the facility at least annually. B. The temperature of the composting solid waste shall be monitored in a depth of 2 feet on the pile with a daily basis during the initial week of the composting, and then only the week basis until the finished compost is produced. The temperature readings and the length of the composting period should be recorded. The record should be kept for at least 3 years and shall be made available for inspection of the department of personnel. When a solid waste management facility that produces compost ceases the operation, all residual solid waste recyclable materials should be removed from the site and recycled or disposed in pursuant to requirements 62701 Florida Administration Codes. The remaining compost should be used in accordance with the requirements of this row is disposed of pursuant to the requirements of the chapter 62701. All right, 62709 530 testing records and reporting requirements. The compost product shall be made and sampled and analyzed as follows. The compost sample, the compost product at each of the composting facilities shall be analyzed at intervals with every 20,000 ton compost produced every 3 months, whatever comes first. The first for the percent moisture of the production of the organic material, percent organic material, and pH. In addition, paragraph A above demonstrate that the material has been disinfected required in accordance with paragraph 62709 300AA. Florida Administration Code, the material shall be analyzed with one of the following intervals with every 20,000 tons of the material produced and every 3 months, whichever comes first. Falcon Coliform must be probable number per gram of total solid waste dry weight basis. Salmonella sp bacteria must be probable number per 4 gram of total solid dry weight basis. Additional to be paragraph B of the above the provision of subparagraph 62709 300AA2 will be used if the material shall be analyzed following the intervals every 20,000 tons of material produced and every 3 months, whichever comes first. Enteric viruses platform unit per 4 grams of total solid dry weight base. Lithium oveo per 4 grams of total solid dry weight basis. Composite bait produced by a person from their own use where the compost is made with the yard trash, vegetable waste, or manure is not required to sample the analyze as specified in paragraphs A through C above. In addition, with the paragraphs A through C above, the compost made from the solid waste other than only yard trash, vegetative waste, animal products, or manure shall be analyzed at intervals every 20,000 tons for the compost produced and for every 3 months, whichever comes first. 1% of the foreign matter. 2. The total cadmium, copper, lead, nickel, and zinc of all milligrams and kilogram dry weight. The department may decrease and increase the parameters to be analyzed with the frequency analysis based on the monitoring data change with the waste stream, the processing potential presence of the toxic substance. All sampling analyzing activities shall be performed in accordance with the Chapter 62, 160 Florida Administration Code. Analytical results shall be submitted to appropriate district office for 30 days and sample the collection foreign material content shall be determined passing dried weight sample from the compost product through one of the quarter-inch 6mm screen. The material remaining of the screen shall be visually inspected with the foreign matter can be clearly identified shall be separated and weighted. The weight of the separated foreign material divided by the weight of the total sample multiplied by 100% shall be the percent dry weight of the foreign material content. Alright, I. The reduction of the organic matter determined that comparing the organic matter content of the feedstock and the composting process, the organic matter content with the compost product. Amount of reduction determined the percent of the original amount contained with the feedstock using the following calculation. 20% ROM equals 1 OMK 100 times minus OM divided by OM times 100 times OK. 100 is reduction of organic material, organic matter content, dry material before decomposition, OMK, organic material content with the dry material after decomposition. Our facility owners and operators shall record and maintain the 3 years of the following information regarding the activity each month. The operation of the facility record shall be available to the inspection department personnel during the normal business hours. Shall be sent with the department upon request. Analytical results of the compost testing, the quantity of the type of the source of the waste should receive the quantity type of the waste to process in compost, quantity of the type of the compost produced with the product, special classification, the quantity of the type of the compost removed with the use of the disposal product, classification of the market, and permitted disposal facilities. 3. Owners and operators of the facility producing compost made with the solid waste shall be submitted to the department an annual report on June 1st. The report shall be submitted to Form 62709-012. Annual report of solid waste management facility producing compost made with solid waste effective date with January 15, 2010. Hereby adopted and incorporated with reference. Copy of the forms are available local district office writing with the Department of Environmental Protection Solid Waste Section MS 4565 2600 Blairstone Road, Tallahassee, Florida 32399 2400. The form the department webpage. Department of State, Florida, USS Waste Question Atomic Form 62709. The operator or owner operator of the facility may submit the annual report of the department electronically. The report shall include the facility name, address, permanent number of the year, cover the total quantity and time sludge values expressed in dry weight, type of the waste received, the effect during the years covered. The report total quantity and time sludge values are expressed in dry weight, type of the waste processing to compost at the facility during the year covered by this report. Total quantity in tons and type of the compost produced by the facility by production class. Product classification during the year covered by the report. The total quantity and the tons type of the compost removed from the use of disposal from the facility by product classification along with the general description of the market for the use during the year covered by the report. Alright, 62709 classification of compost. Compost should be classified based on the type of the waste, process product, maturity, the amount of foreign matter in the product, the particle size, the organic matter content of the product, concentration of heavy metals as specified in the following section. The following characteristics shall be used. Type of the waste process yard trash only manure, yard trash vegetative waste, and the manure solid waste, other than only yard trash vegetative waste manure. This includes compost made with the addition of any of the animal byproducts, maturity, mature, semi-mature, fresh, seed form matter content, less than 2% of the dry weight, greater than 2% but less than 4%, or equal to the dry weight, 4% greater than 4% but less than 10% dry weight. Alright, particle size using the screen side for the compost pass through the organic matter content shall be associated with the particle size fine of greater than less than 10 millimeters in organic material content with less than 25%. Greater than 25% equal, medium 15 millimeters in organic material content, greater than 30% coarse, less than 25 millimeters in organic matter content, greater than 35%. Are the codes of the following table heavy metal concentration will be used for classifying the compost produced. Concentration expressed in milligram and kilogram, dry weight, and determining appropriate classification code parameter concentration. If one of the parameters falls in the higher concentration group, the code of the higher group will apply. The concentration codes are parameter 1, 2, 3, and 4, candome, copper, lead, nickel, zinc. Compost shall be classified as follows. Type Y is the compost made only of the yard trash which matures and semi-matures is fine to medium with coarse. For such compost formed materials contain less than 2% metal concentration equivalent to the coded one. Assume type YM is composed made only of vegetative waste, animal products, manure, with or without yard trash, which is nature and semi-nature of the fine medium coarse with the source of the compost form material content less than 2% and a metal concentration equivalent to the code 1 assumed. Type A, the compost made with the solid waste other than only yard trash, vegetative waste, animal products, manure, which was maturing the fine with the fine foreign matter content should be less than or equal to 2% metal concentration shall fall under the code 1. Further, shall contain no foreign materials such as glass, metal shards, or size of shape that can cause injury. Type B is a compost made from the solid waste other than only yard trash, vegetative waste, animal products, manure, which is nature of the semi-nature of the fine medium foreign matter content shall be less than or equal to 4% and metal concentration will fall under the codes 1 and 2 further since it contains no foreign matter such as glass or metal shards or size or shape that cause injury. Type C is a compost made of solid waste other than only yard trash, vegetable waste, animal byproducts, manure, which is mature and semi-mature. Mature is in fine medium coarse. The foreign material content should be less than or equal to 10% of the metal concentration fall under the codes 1, 2, and 3. Type D compost is made of solid waste solid waste from only yard trash, vegetable waste, animal products, and manure, which is fine medium coarse. If this foreign material content is less than or equal to 10% of the metal concentration falling under codes 1, 2, and 3. The foreign material content metal concentration assumed for fresh compost made only yard trash, vegetable waste, animal byproducts, manure. Type E compost made with the solid waste other than only yard trash, vegetable waste, animal byproducts, manure that has metal concentration falls under code 4. Composite maturity shall be determined as follows. Maturity compost, high stabilized compost that has been exposed prolonged periods of decomposition will not reheat upon standing in the greater than 20 degrees Celsius of the ambient temperature. If beneficial, can use the direct contact roots. The material should be brown to black and color level maturity to indicate the reduction of organic material greater than 60%. Or your semi-mature compost material with a mesophilic stage of reheat until the standing of the greater than 20 degrees Celsius above the ambient temperature. Beneficial use with all direct contact. The roots should be avoided. The material should be light dark brown in color. The level maturity indicated with the reduction of organic material greater than 40%, less than equal to 60%. Fresh compost is compost material that has been thoroughly thermophilic stage undergone partial decomposition of the material with the reheat upon standing in the greater than 20 degrees Celsius above ambient temperature. It's beneficial use for the proper care of need for the further decomposition. Stabilization will occur. The material shall be similar in texture, color to the feed to stock, and composition processing level. Material is indicated with reduction of the organic matter greater than 20% or less than equal to 40%. Alright, this is the last one for organic criteria. Department of Environmental Protection Code 62709. 62709, 1600. Criteria for the use of the compost. Compost classified in types Y, YM, and A shall be unrestricted distribution. Compost classified in type B and C shall be restricted to use of commercial, agricultural, institutional, governmental operation. However, the use of the rare contact with the general public is likely such in part that only type B may be used. The compost classified in type D should only be used for landfills, lead, and reclamation projects. However, such use shall not be allowed to contact general public likely. Type B must be disposed in pursuant to paragraph Chapter 62701 Florida Administration Codes unless it is demonstrated that the use of the material will not endanger the public environment. 5. The total amount of heavy metal applied with the soil shall be in pounds per acre, and follow the cadmium 4.45, nickel 111, copper 111, zinc 222, lead 445. For application, repeated use for the compost can be expected for the agricultural application. The amount of the heavy metal applied with the solid should be not more than 1/10 of the amount listed in subsection 5 of the per acre per year application. Repeated the use of the compost not expected in such land reclamation, solid or amendment on the highway medians. The amount listed in subsection 5 above may be applied within 1 year period. If a person wishing to apply the compost soil can demonstrate through the analysis of the exchanging capacity, other physical chemical characteristics, receiving soil higher application rate will provide equal degree of the protection of public environment. The department may approve that such application pursuant to 62709-700 Florida Administration Code. And 8. Compost shall not be used in any manner that will endanger public health, welfare, environment, or would violate the provisions of this rule.